Hello everyone. Let me see here. It looks like my video is completely screwy today. Um, I don't know what on earth is going on. Um, so I think for today, I don't know if I may kill it, but or we'll just live with the jerkiness. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we just live with the jerkiness of the video, or should I kill it? Let me know in chat. In any case, so what I wanted to kind of do, we didn't get to stream yesterday due to some technical difficulties of the NDI plugin not working with OBS. It's one of those things where OBS really does help to where I can bring you a lot of content, but sometimes it is a royal pain in the butt to deal with. It is what it is. What are you going to do? In any case, so I'm not seeing anything in chat. I don't know. Did you guys all go quiet? Well, I guess let me check here if you guys can actually hear what's going on. Okay. We'll give that a second or two. Hopefully you guys can hear. In any case, what we wanted to do here today was to kind of go, okay, perfect. Thank you, Hussein. What I wanted to do was kind of go through some of the pull requests that are, the video is really choppy. If you think I should just ditch the video, let me know. I'm kind of thinking ditching it every once in a while. I don't know why. I mean, I could try rebooting too if you guys want me to reboot for the 100th time in the last 48 hours. Won't go into that. They just don't make Macs like they used to. But for whatever reason, every once in a while, my Logitech just freaks out, and the only way to deal with it is a reboot. Even unplugging it and plugging it back in just does not work. So if it becomes too bothersome, like I said, let me know, and we'll kill the video, or we can do a reboot, whatever. So anyway, so we have these three kind of open PRs that are out there. There are a couple of issues that are still open. Did I get the 16-inch? No, I did not get the 16-inch. I bought my Mac 2 months early. I figured, okay, in June, they released a brand new version of the MacBook Pro. And so in August, I said, screw it. It's going to be till next summer before they release a new one anyway. And so I went out and I spent entirely too much money on a brand new MacBook Pro. And lo and behold, 2 months later in October, they decide to come out with the 16-inch, which was what I had originally been waiting for. Story of my life. Anyway. So I will say thank you to Della here, who has kind of let me know that I forgot to initialize the pop-up plugin on UWP. So that's a very simple one. If somebody wants to take it, it's a very easy PR. You can say you helped contribute to Prism. We do have this PR, I believe, for the confirm navigation should be one of the pending ones right now that we'll take a look at. I believe this page behavior factory one is still up for grabs if someone wanted to take that. And I know Norman is working on a module dependency sample as well. In the meantime, I actually have updated the Sandbox app in the Prism repo. So there is actually a sample of that now in the Sandbox app, kind of in preparation for some other things that I'm working on. So I'm actually hoping to have Sweeky on. Hopefully we stop having these, video issues and audio issues. But with Sweeky, I was actually going to be hooking up a Xamarin UI test project to the Sandbox app in Prism. And that'll kind of give us a lot better testing and reliability to know that features are working the way that they're meant to, from one build to the next to the next. And it'll also kind of help us from doing some damage to ourselves. In the past, it's referred to as a sandbox app because it's kind of our place to play around. But at the same time, there are some good things and bad things that come along with that when there's no strategy at all, where we could make a change in the library and then we totally break this functionality in the sandbox, and then we don't realize what's going on because we never paid attention. And I'll be honest, there were large periods of time that I never bothered to open the Sandbox app. So slowly trying to move things forward here. Next, we kind of have this master detail one. This is actually one of the samples, as well as I believe the tab navigation was one of the other samples that is sitting there waiting for the PR review. And then rescheduled for Friday afternoon. I'll have Rodney Littles on, barring additional issues. But we'll have Rodney on, and we'll be kind of going through the reactive UI one. And as I can, I'll kind of get to these other ones here as well. So lots of cool things going on here in the Prism samples. Anyway, so like I said, I wanted to kind of go through this and do some additional review. Now, I realize sometimes I can be a little bit of a ball buster. And part of that is I'm just trying to keep code consistent from one sample to the next to the next. I think it's pretty safe to say we all have slightly different code styling preferences, and that's okay. It really is. But it can be very difficult for people when you're trying to go from one sample to the next, and that code style keeps changing. So I am trying to do some little things just to kind of keep you guys, as you are submitting these PRs, which I really do appreciate. But I am trying to kind of keep things going down the same path. So that way it makes it a little bit easier for people to digest. And we are trying to keep them fairly simple, except for the one that Hussein did for dialogues. That one was a little bit more, fun. Yeah, we'll just go with fun. Hope you don't mind, Hussein. Anyway, so this was the confirm navigation sample. And so for the confirm navigation, this is actually using the tab page, and then we are kind of... Whoops, hold on. Brian. Okay, it appears Brian is in, but he's afraid to go into Twitch chat. But thank you. Give me 1 second here, and let me add a filter for this. Where is it? My audio is kind of driving me crazy. Where is that setting? No, it is. Brian, let me see here. I think Brian was complaining that I needed to set it to mono output on the mic, and it should be mono. Yeah, it is set to mono, Brian, so I don't know what the issue is that you're having there. There's some weird static in my audio as well. Huh. Well, ain't that just so fun. Hopefully that's a little better. I don't know. Alrighty then. In any case, we are having all kinds of issues. See that? Like OBS does not like me lately. It doesn't want to install NDI correctly. It doesn't want my video to be displayed correctly. Just all kinds of fun. What are you going to do? That's just how he's... So what you're saying is he spent too much time at the gun range, and he's gone deaf in one ear, and that's why he can't hear it correct. Or maybe should we? I never mind. I'll leave him alone. Anyway, I can give him. I'm looking forward to MVP Summit. This kill the video. I will kill the video. Absolutely, Hussein. I'm looking forward to MVP Summit this year because I'll have even more access to harass Brian this year. So it'll be very, very fun. By his own request, which is hilarious. Anyway, so yeah, so we have this tab page. We're creating two different tabs here, one for the non-async example and one for the async example. Pretty standard stuff here. And then we have some sort of result page, it looks like. So we'll kind of come down, take a look at this. So what do we have? So for our async example, we have our confirm navigation async. Oh, alrighty then. Well, thank you for letting me know, Brian. I guess I should have said be more specific about which video. There's a lot of video content I've been putting out lately. In case you guys weren't actually aware, you can subscribe now, youtube.com/Dan Siegel. So all of these episodes, better or worse, are ending up on YouTube now. So if you do miss anything that I'm doing live, you can always go up to YouTube and kind of catch the replay there. And then I have been doing some additional videos as well. So there will be a video coming out on the dialogue service, and then there is another one up there right now on platform-specific registrations, and I have a whole bunch of other topics that I'll be doing as well. So be sure to subscribe so you get those notifications. And then also, if you are if you are one of my GitHub sponsors, I actually am putting out notifications early right now for that as well. So be sure to do that as well. Anyway, so back to the review here. Whoa, that kind of, I don't know why that scrolled. So we have the confirm navigation here. We're injecting the iNavigation service, iPage dialog service. What are we kind of doing with this? So we have, what are we doing? Okay, so we inject those. We have a navigate away command. Okay. Then in our navigate away, we're navigating to our result page. Pretty basic stuff right there. In our can navigate async. And this is actually, by the way, I would say something that you might do in reality, right? So you have something that is trying to navigate away from your page, and here we're using the dialog service, or the page dialog service, to display some sort of alert with a message, and we want to confirm, like, hey, are you really sure that you want to leave or not? Like, you know, maybe you haven't hit save yet, we haven't persisted the data yet, and we just want to really make sure that you meant to navigate away. So this is a perfect example right here of kind of how to use that API. So that's fantastic. File deleted, that's fine. What do we have here? So the non-async example. So for this one, we're just confirming navigation. And we have a Boolean can navigate away. Okay. So again, same kind of thing here. We have our navigation service. There is no page dialog service this time. Our navigate away, again, we're just going to the result page, very basic. And our can navigate is just returning that Boolean of whether or not we can navigate. So there's no need there to be async. Makes perfect sense to me. The result page. Okay, what do we have on our result page? We have the navigation service. We have a go back command. Pretty basic stuff right there. Going back, okay, nothing really silly there. And then we have our async example page XAML. Okay, so here's where the fun begins. Okay, so we have a title of async. So this is what, of course, we're going to see in the tab page as the tab name. We have our stack layout. We're centering content. We have a label telling us that it is the I confirm navigation async example. Ain't that fantastic? I love it. And then we have a button to navigate away, bound, of course, to our command. Makes a lot of sense to me. So, of course, if you're visually following along, right, and we're running this, I'm going to press this button. We're going to get that page dialog service notification, hey, are you sure you want to navigate away? Yes or no. So we would expect that this would, of course, navigate away if you hit yes, and it would stay right there if you hit no. Boilerplate. This is one of those things I wish Xamarin.Forms would let us get rid of, because I have a XAML file. Why the hell do I need code behind when this is boilerplate code entirely? Anyway, just personal gripe. Non-async example. This should be almost identical, right? Or fairly similar. So title non-async makes sense to me. I have a label. Can navigate with a question mark. A switch. Okay. So this is, of course, how we're toggling that Boolean, right? So if the switch is toggled, that Boolean is going to be true. We can navigate away. If it's set to the off position, of course, which is the default, then, well, at least when the value is false, right? So by default, it shouldn't be able to navigate away when you hit that. And that would keep you on your page. So there is the I confirm navigation and I confirm navigation async. Result page. So very fun. Nice little label. Congratulations, you did it. It's even in bold. How cool is that? Button, go back. Looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and approve these changes. All right, and we'll get that merged in. Cool. Now I only have 2 more to go through. So, and I believe these were updated this morning. So there were some changes that I had requested a while back. Rodney, my audio works just fine. It was your audio that we could not get working, my friend. Hussein, yes, that was missing a README file, but I'm not going to hold it up for the README. I can go through, or we can create a new issue for it. In fact, if you want, feel free to update the README and submit a PR, and I'll go ahead and merge it. So there you go. So that's like the live coding. Like, isn't it beautiful, right? We're doing all of this in real time, and as a community, which I think is pretty cool. Anyway, so this one was the master detail page. So we're going to see a little bit here how to use the master detail page, conventional use with the navigation page, content page, and then also with a tab page as a child. Okay. He's not able to test on iOS. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I think this was, let me just make sure he did push this. Yeah. 2 commits yesterday. Works for me. Oh, no, thank you. Thank you for the PR. I do appreciate it. Let's see here. So we have our README. So we have master detail docs, what it shows. Okay, so master detail, we've updated that. What are we doing here? Oh, okay. Yes, so this is like one of those fun things, right? So when we have that master detail page, we're going to get the hamburger icon by default on UWP, on Android. But for whatever bloody reason, we are forced to specify that explicitly as a resource on iOS. So, or I should say as an icon. So I always thought that was dumb, but whatever. Yeah, so we have that. Okay. So we've changed this. We're going to navigate to home, navigation page, main page. We're registering a tab page, home page, tab A, tab B. Okay. Yeah. So, So, and I will say too, like basically, if there is a sample in this repository, you can basically expect that I'll be doing a tutorial video on that subject, and then coming back and editing the README for that specific project with the video that goes along with it, as well as updating the Prism docs with the video as well. So that way everything is pointing at everything, and no matter where you are, you can get the tutorial video, you can get to the docs, you can get to the sample, because, I'm just trying to make life easier on everybody. Crazy idea, I know, right? Anyway, so what do we have? We have our homepage view model, which inherits from bindable base, because this is not a reactive project, like Rodney will be showing us all about using reactive object instead of bindable base, but cool. Anyway, so we have our iNavigation service. We have a couple of commands here, a tab page command and a main page command. Not really the way I would have done it. I would have just done one command and passed in a string, but whatever. It's fine. I don't care about that right now. Bindable base. So we have a view model. Doesn't really do anything. I don't really know why we have this view model. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is there a reason to really include a view model for tab A and tab B if we're not doing anything with them? I kind of feel like the answer is no to that. All right, so we have our master detail page. So yes, I mentioned that we needed to specify the icon, but it does not look like we are specifying an icon for that. Yeah. Oh no, hold on. Icon, okay. So this is just in the wrong place. Yeah. The okay. Okay. So we have our main page, tab page with our commands. That all works. Oh, while I'm here, let me actually just kind of point out something. So this is something I've actually noticed in some code that I've reviewed for different people that have kind of brought me in to give them pointers and stuff. So I'll give this to you guys for free. Anyway, one of the things I have seen a lot of people do, because they're really not sure how to work with master detail page, is they'll actually specify both the master and the detail inside of the master detail page. And while that is technically okay, you can do that, and you're required to do that actually for Xamarin.Forms itself. You don't need to do that here. All you really want to specify here is your master, and the detail can be set entirely from the query string and as you're deep linking in. So that's always why you see like the pattern that I tend to follow is going to be, I'm going to say, here's my master detail page, and then here's a navigation page, and then here's the page I actually want people to look at. And then if I have anything after that, we kind of go from there. But in general, I almost never ever specify any type of page as the detail, like as a hard-coded page within the master detail page. So just my 2 cents there. Now, one thing we may want to actually kind of do here, something that might kind of be good. I think we do want to kind of specify this, and I did not mention this. Yes, Brian, that's exactly how it should be. Now, I should say, Brian, like there are edge cases around that it does make sense where you would, hard code some sort of page. Like if you just kind of don't care, like if you're never going to deep link past that detail page and you like want something that's a one-time view, like the first time you went to the master detail page, you see some special content or whatever, and then whatever you do after that, it's going to dynamically switch it out, and you're never going to see it again. Then I guess that could be okay. But again, I would kind of question, why didn't you just do it in the query string and navigate to it the way that you want? But anyway, my 2 cents. So I'm almost positive here that Brian is going to agree with me as well, that what you're going to want here is actually to specify we want the, I master detail page options or some nonsense. Let me just make sure that I actually specify it correctly. So let me come in here. There is actually some stuff a lot of people do not realize is there, which is why we do these samples, right? So yeah, I master detail page options. So what we're going to want here, let me just make sure I copy that correctly. So we'll say, please implement, yes. So we're going to say, I'm just trying to think how we want to kind of surface this. I think maybe a switch or something. What is the XAML for the icon? So, Michael, so basically what you're going to do there is the same kind of like icon image source thing that you were doing on the master detail page. Like that's the correct thing to do, but you need to do it on the content page that you have set as the master, not on the actual master detail page itself. So it's going to be looking for the icon on the master is really what is the relevant piece there. So we want to implement, though, the iMaster detail page options here. What I am thinking, since we have the author of this on the stream as well, is we probably want to have like a switch or something inside of the master that's bound to a Boolean in the what is the home page view model there. So that way you can kind of control whether or not it should be presented, and then kind of give people that ability to see that. So, yeah, yes, it's on the content page. So, all right. So we have our main page here. Okay. That works, whatever. Let's say welcome to Prism, though. Or say, welcome. Well, let's change it to something more interesting than welcome to Xamarin.Forms. Say, welcome. Well, yeah, something like that. I don't know. Doesn't have to be exactly that. Tab A. Okay. Tab A, tab B. Yeah. Okay, so that all looks good. We've updated all of this. Perfect. So yeah, so just a couple of small changes there, and I think that this one is almost where we need it to be. Not a whole lot left to do there. But yeah. So let's see. Okay. So that's pretty good. Let me go to the other one here, the tab page one. Should you remove the view models for the tabs? Yes, let's go ahead and remove those view models because they don't really do anything. We're not getting anything, and ultimately there's no point to that. So you certainly could, if you wanted to make it, if you wanted to spruce it up, one potential thing that you might do is pass in some navigation parameters, and then you could say like tab A message, tab B message, or something like that, and then show those being used, or show those messages kind of on the tabs when you load them. That actually would be probably I think that would be a good thing to do, just to kind of show how all of that gets wired up, and how you can pass the parameters in. So anyway, yeah. So let's go to the tab page. So what are we showing here? Creating a tab page in XAML and navigating to a tab with the query string. Create tabs at runtime with the query string. Navigating to a tab via the query string. A lot of query string stuff here. Do we want that in the master details as well? I guess what do you mean? Like what is it that you're asking? Do we want something in the master detail as well, or what that we want to show something? Can you clarify that for me? So I am having an ID10T moment. If you write that down, you'll understand very, very clearly what I mean. The tab parameter stuff. So for the tab parameter, like I'm talking about like on the master detail page. So if we come back, let me go back to the other sample here. So if we come in here right now, where are the view models, right? So right now we have like basically nothing here. But if this was like, so let's just say like maybe implement, so we can say I initialize, right? And pull from the navigation parameters a message for this tab. And then just so like that way when you're doing this, you can see, hey, I am actually able to pass these parameters to the tab and get that. Oh, I guess you can't see any of those comments until I hit submit and review. So let me do that. And now everybody just got emails. Congratulations. I'm emailing you all live. It's amazing. All right. What do we have here? So we don't have any changes there. We're applying to derived types. So that, yeah, it's a reasonable change here. So generally, and I know Hussein and I kind of went around on this a little bit. So in general, as a general rule on these samples, I don't want the styling messed with. That way we have a consistent look and feel throughout all of the samples. Certainly if there's like a style or something that makes it look a little bit better, case by case, that could kind of get added in. But this makes perfect sense to me, where we would want to apply to a derived type, because otherwise this style would only go to the Xamarin.Forms tab page and not to your own custom tab page. So it makes total sense to me. All right. So we'll come in here. What do we have here? We have our main page view model. Again, inheriting from bindable base, we have our runtime tabs command and our tab B command. Okay. Where are we going here? Okay. So we wire those both up. Our runtime tabs action. So we're just using the Xamarin.Forms tab page, it looks like. We're saying create tab equals tab C, B, and A. Backwards, but okay. I can work with it. And then we have tab B. Okay, what do we have? What's this active count thing? I don't understand. What? Oh. Active count 0. Okay, I'm not sure what this is. We'll hopefully find out in a second, I guess. Okay, so we're passing this in. Now, one thing I actually will say, I really don't like the way that this is set up. So what I would say here is what we want to say await navigation service navigate async. We want the tabs page. And we can say selected tab equal tab B page. But then we can keep it really simple. So you may or may not know this, but we actually added tuple support in here because I'm lazy and I'm not even gonna lie about it. Active count. And so, yeah. So I would just say change that. Oops. Oh, get back here. Okay. So we're going to just change that, make it a lot easier to kind of deal with there. And then the other thing that I'm kind of noticing is here we're using the magic string. Brian likes it the way that it is. Okay. Fine, Brian. You win. If you really like it the way it is. I don't like that, but whatever. But one thing I actually really do not like as I'm looking at this, so we have no navigation parameters here. Yeah. Ooh, that's actually a good idea, Brian, is to have it commented out so you can see the alternatives. And it actually kind of goes in line with what I was thinking here is I don't like that here we're explicitly saying no navigation parameters create, and then over here we're saying magic string selected tab. So I'm trying to think, and maybe Brian, if you have an idea, I don't know whether we want to just, because I feel like it would be easier to read if this was just, create tab equals, tab C page, right? So, yeah. And then say create tab equals tab B page. So I feel that this is way easier to read than with this string interpolation going on here. And I think maybe what... Oh, God, keep hitting the wrong button here. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is let's say comment known navigation parameters create tab equals create tab or something like that. So so let's at least change that. And then, so let me kind of come back here. Say as a comment. Okay, so we'll say wait navigation service, navigate async, tabs page, selected tab equals tab B, page, and then we can say active count. Okay. Okay. So why is this not going? What is going on here? Come on. I guess I want to discard my save changes. What can I tell you? There we go. All right. So here is some fun. iActiveAware makes perfect sense to me to be including this in a tab page example because it is the only bloody place in Prism.Forms that iActiveAware is actually supported. Yeah, I think you might be right. I think if we just have the comment though, like if it's commented, I think that'll be fairly decent. What are you saying is not true, Brian? By all means, tell me where else. Commands don't count. Nobody uses iActiveAware for commands in Prism.Forms. Maybe in WPF. I haven't seen anybody using it in Prism.Forms though. And even then, yeah, exactly. Composite commands. Nobody's using composite commands. I haven't. Well, if anybody on this stream is using composite commands and your name is not Brian Lagunas, by all means, please say something in chat. All right. So, yeah, the only place that anybody. Okay, so we do have somebody. All right. I stand corrected. One person is using it. It is fairly rare, though. I have not run into many people using it. Really? Wow. Okay, fine. Make me a liar. Why don't you? I think these guys are making it up for you, Brian. They just like you better. I'll stand corrected and begrudgingly. iActiveAware for tabs confuses so many people who try using navigation aware. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and here's the thing. So I think this might actually be one of the oldest issues in Xamarin.Forms. So let's just say author is Brian Lagunas. I know you guys haven't heard of that guy. Yeah, I mean, he's only ever done 2 issues. And you can kind of see why, right? Like, when you report an issue in 2017 and another one in 2018, and here we are in 2020, and neither one of them is done, and you notice there are 0 closed because he's only done these 2, right? And neither one of them has been touched. And it's 2020, for crying out loud. Anyway, but yeah, so actually the oldest one, the one from 2017, which is like the 3rd oldest issue in Xamarin.Forms, by the way, is that the tab page current page is null if you have more than, well, basically if you have 5 or more tabs on iOS, because when you do that, the tab page on iOS automatically gets a little more menu. And so when you hit that little more menu, then you get the list of the other tabs. And when you select said tab, current page is null. Yeah, that's a thing. You do notice, by the way, it is up for grabs. If anybody wants to take that issue, that'd be awesome, because obviously the Xamarin.Forms team isn't. Yeah, anyway. So back to this. So we have iActive aware here. We have our is active. When this is set, we're going to raise is active changed. I kind of love this one, honestly, because I can't think of a single reason why I would ever use the is active changed here. Like, it just seems silly to me, but that's just me. What can I say? I know Brian will be like, but it should be used. Well, why? Because Prism doesn't do it. So anything is in my code, and well, I don't need the raise is active change, because where I'm doing that, I can just say it is active change on is active change, whatever. I digress. But no, the way that this is done is fine. Anyway, so active count. Okay. Yeah. Brian, if you saw the apps that I build in Xamarin.Forms, you would not ever accuse me of building very simple mobile apps, my friend. Anyway, so we have tab page view model. Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, yes. Hello World is a simple app. Ooh, those are fighting words, man. It's all right. I'll get my revenge. Because, Brian, you requested me as a roommate for MVP Summit, and I snore. Anyway, let's see here. So we have is active. So we're increasing the count. You've met me. You know I'm a lot fatter. I could be a freight train. Anyway, initialize. So we're initializing. Taking the. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, taking that. Should be fun. Yes. Okay. So that, I think that's all good. I'm gonna just like put that to viewed so I don't have to scroll through it again. I don't think there were any changes I asked for on that one. This is all fine. Let's see. We had stuff in tab A. We don't really care about tab B. We'll leave it. Maybe we'll add something to this. I guess this probably could be deleted, but I'm not that worried about it. Tab C. So we have our iNavigation service. We have our delegate command for tab A. Okay. And we're selecting the tab to go to tab A page. Okay, cool. This all works for me so far. We have our tabs page view model. Actually, this one really kind of is silly. There's no real reason for it. Not that I can think of anyway. I might say, well, let me think about this for a second here. So I guess one thing you might do on this one that would make it a little bit more fun is, what if we added, let's actually do this. Let's add a title property, and be sure to I don't actually know, by the way, so I apologize. I'll have to look again. But, be sure that this is to wrap this page in a navigation page. So that way we can see the title. Oh, by the way, I will say, you don't need to declare your own tab page and have a view model that does that. If you're using Prism.Forms Extended, I actually do that magically for you. So if there is a title property, or like if there's a title value on the tab page for your navigation, it will automatically set it. There's also an option on there that will let you change that title dynamically depending on which tab is selected. So just a little thing. So main page here. So we're going to create at runtime or just kind of go to tab B. Looks fine. This looks fine as well. So we have our active count, doing a string format. Looks good to me. Looks good to me. I hate boilerplate, but what are you going to do? They closed my issue in like 5 seconds. I think they like did it faster on Xamarin.Forms than, well, never mind. We won't go there. But yeah, Alan's bot closed an issue on me pretty fast. I won't lie. So content page, tab B. Okay. Basic. We're not doing anything there. Tab C. Okay. So we have tab C. Go to tab A. Looks good to me. So that one is, oh, see that? So there was a change up above from one of my recommendations. What do you know? Yeah, so here, you know, we'll want to bind the view model. Just to kind of show, like the only purpose of this, by the way, is just to show that when we navigate to this tabs page, we do actually have a backing view model. There could be stuff there, and you know, we have that ability, of course, to bind to the title from that. So I'm not completely crazy, only partially. So yep, so that all looks good to me. Perfect. Okay. So we'll request a few more changes. And that all looks pretty good, though. I think we're getting very, very close. I think a couple very minor changes. And then, like I said, we should be able to merge those two. But that kind of takes care of some stuff there. What was the other one? I think it was confirm navigation. So, yeah, so closed by number 77. And, oops. Meant to hit close, whatever. So, yeah, well, thank you guys for joining. It was just kind of a quick little run through there of the issues that we had open, or the samples that we had open. Like I said, there were I think 1 or 2 issues, right? See, master detail page. Okay, those 2. So yeah, we just have this page behavior factory 1 that is still open. And I think there was this bug from the pop-up plugin 1 that I'll probably take care of later today. It's like 1 line change. But yeah, if someone wants to take this page behavior factory sample and kind of run with it, please go to GitHub here and just kind of let us know. Do we have docs on it? That is a fantastic question, Brian. So let's look at the docs. Page behavior factory. Yes, we do have a to-do doc on the page behavior factory. So, so I think that helps, right? If we just say there's a page behavior factory and we need to do the docs. Yeah, well, at least it's not totally hidden that way, right? But yeah, so there is that. If somebody knows what it is or wants to look it up, it's really a very simple thing. I mean, I can talk through it really fast, and not just because I talk fast, though I have been accused of that many times, and rightfully so. So the page behavior factory, well, actually, let me back up. Let me go to the actual interface here. So we have, I feel like this really should be changed, by the way. Yeah. Somebody can implement this by following the docs. Yeah. Well, no, I feel like the sample is an implementation of the docs for the feature right now. They both are to do. But yeah, so the iPage behavior factory, which I feel is going to change in Prism 8, because why on earth do we need to specify these? I completely agree that the actual page behavior factory should probably split it out, but I don't know that it really should be in, you know, like in the interface itself, like apply carousel page behaviors and blah, blah, blah. I feel like it should just be apply behaviors, and then the page behavior factory figures out what type of page it is and does whatever it needs to do to it. I digress. And I believe we kind of do that anyway. Don't we? Yeah, I think we do. So yeah, so there are just a couple of things. And you notice everything is virtual. So if there's a behavior that you wanted to add to every single page, you can do this. If you want an example of it, go over to the Prism container extensions and look at Prism.Forms extended, because I do exactly that. I extend it out and kind of add some additional stuff there. There are some open PRs for docs. Okay, well, we'll take a look actually before I leave. Why not? Okay, so we have apply content page behaviors, master detail page, navigation page. Yeah, see, I mean, I don't think Prism actually calls anything but this apply page behaviors. There's no reason for the interface to have anything more than this apply page behaviors. All you really need. But, you know, what do I know? Yes, go to the app class. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Brian? I will go to the app class. The application base, anyway. What do we have? I don't know where you want me to look, because you haven't told me where you want to go. There is a method that can be overridden. There are a lot of methods that can be overwritten. Can you be more specific than that? Like this method, configure view model locator. I can override that. I cannot override this one, though. Oh well. I can override initialize. Something to do with page behavior factory. Is there? I don't recall that. Register types, configure module catalog, initialize modules, on initialized, resume, sleep. I think you're tripping, Brian. Yeah, the only way that this gets used, if you come in here, where is it? Right here. So the only way that this gets used is we register the singleton right here in our register required types in Prism application base. You can, of course, override that and provide your own implementation in register types, and it'll use yours instead. But yeah, so you have that. And then actually where it does get used is in the navigation service itself. Where are we? So you'll see here somewhere. So we have the iPage behavior factory is injected into the constructor there. And so if we say page behavior factory, so there are 5 places it's used. So again, apply behaviors. and this is in the create page from segment. Then we are doing it again when we dynamically create tabs for tab pages. So these are the only places where it's kind of being used, and you can notice we only ever actually call apply page behaviors. Yeah, so the interface doesn't need it though, right? Because we don't care is the bottom line. Like the only thing that interface actually needs is the one method. So actually we should probably create an issue on that. But if I override the method that registers all of, okay, will Prism fail if I don't register? Okay. So here's the thing, right? So you get like this carousel active aware behavior, right? Well, if you don't use carousel, you don't use iActive aware. Same thing with tab pages. If you're not using iActive aware, doesn't really matter, right? This page lifecycle aware, which you could honestly just kind of do yourself. And all that does is just invoke, on appearing, on disappearing kind of thing. So yeah, so it's like here's what we're the active aware for carousel page. I personally am of the belief that as long as this is a virtual method on our page behavior factory implementation, we don't need it on the interface. Plain and simple. So we have this navigation page system go back behavior on navigation pages, and then the page active aware behavior there as well. So we're doing that. But yeah, so I mean you can see, we're doing all this, but you can override apply page behaviors if you inherit this. But all you really need to do is just call base apply page behaviors. You're going to get everything that Prism gives you, and then you can add additional ones. And if you don't want, like if you want, you could do your own switch here, right? If we didn't give you access to override. But since all of these are already virtual, I don't really see what the point of having it on the interface is. Brian finally sees the point of it, but better late than never, buddy. Better late than never. Anyway, so yeah. No, we actually wrote it to be used because we were applying these behaviors inside of the navigation service, and it was a pain in the ass for people to try to because the navigation service, there is nothing easy about the navigation service other than using it. But everything about the navigation service is a pain. So always has been. So the iPage Behavior Factory was actually written explicitly to give people a very, very simple hook that they could apply behaviors to their pages without having to override the navigation service inside of Prism and do all kinds of really crazy things. So that's actually why it exists. Okay. We will need to change the PAI so they can apply a behavior to a specific page type. Not sure I totally follow you there, Brian, but yeah. Okay. Oh, API. API makes much more sense. Almir, yeah, I can certainly assign it to you, but I need you to leave a comment on GitHub so that way I can assign it to you, because it won't let me just assign it to people who aren't on the issue. So anyway, so there was that, and I know somebody asked about the documentation. So let's take a look at the documentation PRs, and yes, there are a few of them on here. So there's this work in progress from March 9th. Yeah. So this, what is this? This navigation documentation. I don't even know if it's still relevant. What are we talking about here? Yeah, I'll have to kind of play with that. That could get fun. We may have actually already kind of implemented what we need here. I'll have to reach out to Dwayne on this one because there were a couple of really minor changes I had asked him for. Partial views. Okay. Yeah, so this one here, I'm going to actually hold off on merging. I mean, I guess we could merge it. I'm not sure how I feel about merging something on partial views at this point, just because we are planning on deprecating the entire API with the introduction of regions in Prism 8. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Brian, partial views are dead. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and, well, I guess I just have to close it then. And Prism 8. Well, don't need an exclamation point. All right. So yes, regions like on WPF are going to be in Prism 8. I can tell you that the API will be largely the same, though not entirely the same, because I literally started by pulling in like all of the interfaces from WPF and then making little modifications, kind of like as they make sense to for the platform. And some of it is just, trying to get rid of certain legacy things, which you kind of need to leave alone on WPF because WPF is a monster. There are definitely a few things that I noticed in the API that at some point Brian and I will have to discuss and make decisions on, that just don't bloody make any sense. But we'll play with that another day. So one other thing I will mention on the region support for Xamarin.Forms, it is a feature that is incredibly advanced. It is not something that I anticipate most people to be using out of the box, and so it will. Yeah, we're not sharing interfaces, but it shares a lot of the concepts, so that way it feels familiar. But yeah, so we'll play with that another day. But the regions will be in its own package. So like if you want it, you'll need to install like Prism.Forms regions or whatever the package name ends up being. Anyway, I don't even know why you're saying that, Brian. You and I discussed exactly what we're doing on that. All right, so my bunch of minor stuff. Why did Bart do this and then not merge his own PR? For crying out loud, man. True. Yeah. mean, we can, yes, but this just needs to be pulled out entirely. I'll do that somewhere else. I don't care. Don't merge it. Okay, I won't merge it. I'll leave Bart's to leave, like, stay there for 2 years. We'll kind of do to him what Xamarin.Forms is doing to Brian. Converting from Prism 6. So this one, WPF, I am going to leave this alone. Brian, that one is all you, buddy. Yeah, yeah. So there is some cool things that I think Bart had in here, but we'll, like, yeah, this UWP thing that needs to be removed entirely. What else do we have? Custom view model registration. Yeah. View model locator. What do we have here? So that's all good. Good God, why, what? Okay, whatever. Application lifecycle. I'm not really seeing terrible things in this. I mean, other than that UWP crap. Looks like fixing some links there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, God. There is a lot in that. Merge what he has and we'll fix it again. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yep. You know, I'm just thinking, and I don't know if anybody has an opinion on this. So we do have this ability right here, to kind of do this register for navigation on platform. So I'm just kind of wondering what you guys think about kind of doing this where you know, we maybe have a sample of this, because I don't think we actually have a sample of it. We probably should add one. Anybody think no, not really necessary? Think it is necessary? Kind of curious what you guys think on that one. I don't think we actually did that one. I think we left that one alone. Let me see here. I can only remember so much, man. Do we have on idiom? I thought we didn't. iContainer registry extensions. Okay, so there's platform. Platform on. Okay, there is on idiom, right? Or no? Yeah, there it is. Shoot, why not? Yeah, I mean, if we have an on idiom on platform. Now, I guess you can tell I don't really ever use that. Like the one case that I had for an issue like that, I did not use this approach. I'm just trying to think. Is there? Hmm. I feel like maybe should this be two samples? Like, should there be an on idiom sample and a on platform sample, or should it be one sample that has different pages that get registered depending on idiom and platform? Like view A is different on platform and view B is different on idiom. Um, what do you guys think there? You think one sample showing the register for all options. Okay. So let me open up a new tab here, because why not? This is how we as developers end up with 3,000 tabs open. At least I do. Anyway. So let's do, how about this? Register for navigation sample. Separate would be cleaner. Yeah, but I feel like you could still do something where, like, so we'll say add a sample to show various ways to register views for navigation. So this would include basic register, register view, register view plus, let me do this, plus a view model, register view with custom name, register a view with platform specific overrides, register view with idiom specific overrides. See you later, Brian. Thank you for hopping in and joining. Go pretend to work. We'll talk to you later. Yeah. So I think if we just had a sample that could kind of walk through those different things. Is there a reason why those registers aren't just overloads instead of different methods? Which ones are you referring to? So, like the first three are all overloads of like the same register for navigation. For the platform specific and the idiom specific, the method has a very specific name for that. And there are a few different reasons that we did that. One being that, especially with all the typing, it would be much more challenging, in having like a unique method name. And one of the other reasons is it just makes it a lot more clear that, like when I come in here, I mean, like I said, I forgot that we even had the on idiom one because I never use it. But but if you're looking at your code and you say, container registry dot register for navigation on idiom, like very specifically by looking at this that that registration is going to be different, depending on whether you're on a desktop, a tablet, a phone. So it's not as magic, right? So it makes it a lot easier to understand. the same as well for this on platform, where we're saying, hey, on platform, so we have our default view that's going to get registered along with the view, along with the view model. And then you have the runtime platform that kind of gets mapped in as well for whatever platform you might be using. So just kind of different ways to deal with it, make it easier to consume. But yeah. Okay. So we'll say we want to show users how to register views for navigation depending on their workflow. I don't know. I think that looks good. Okay. So if you would like to take that, by all means, jump into the samples repo there, leave a comment, let me know, and so that way I can go ahead and perfect, and I can assign it. So just like I did right here with the page behavior factory, so we have that one assigned now, and yeah. So cool. I think we've been pretty productive. So we got things. Okay, hold on. Well, one more idea. Would it be, or would a container registry.verify be possible that checks you don't have duplicate registrations? Throw an exception at. Okay. I suppose it could theoretically be, but there are cases where you actually do, end up having duplicates, and it's basically the last in wins. So like let's say you're using the pop-up plugin, right? So Prism.Forms is going to register iNavigation service for you, and then when you go and you say, hey, I am using the pop-up plugin, I want to support pop-ups in my application, use the pop-up navigation service, it's now going to add a duplicate entry for the navigation service. So now how that gets handled depends on the specific container that you're using. So like we're very explicit in dry IOC, for example, that we're actually replacing that duplicate. So there isn't really a need to verify per se. Other containers, like I said, it would just be the last in is the winner, right? Like that's what we actually care about. Because it's effectively a dictionary, and we've pulled the key, right? So we have a duplicate, and so yeah, that's just kind of how that works. So not really a need, but yeah, cool. Let me just check. As long as I am in here and in this kind of mode, actually here, let me go to my profile. Let me check these. Are any issues? There's this one that I keep procrastinating on. Some strange behavior. Somebody said they were going to do this and then they never did. So that kind of sucks. This one is pending a issue in Xamarin.Forms, and I know Shane actually just pinged me right before I went on that he has a spec on that. We could certainly, I think we could probably support this iApplication Lifecycle Aware delegates. What do we have here? That would actually be easy. I'll do that in another stream. I'll kind of come in here on the pop-up plugin for another stream, and we'll kind of deal with that. What do we have? Oh, Dependabot. Don't care about Dependabot. So we are going to actually tell Dependabot no. So I'm trying to remember what the ignore. Yeah, so we'll just say, actually I'm going to say ignore the dependency. to kind of go away. And then tell that to be ignored. Uh-oh. Oh boy. All right. Well, I think we have the stream back now. Something happened there. Stream was not happy for a second. So we'll go ahead and do the same here. Kind of get that to close out. And then what do we have? Open 2 hours ago. This service scope factory. Oh boy, more issues. Unable to resolve. Okay, maybe it's just implement. Huh. Well, I will have to take a look at this one. That'll be interesting. What else do we have? Oh. One more idea. Okay. What a can. Oh no. I guess I'm back in. It just reloaded me. Okay. That was interesting. All right, guys. Well, I think I am going to call it a day. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Hey, Dan here. Hope you enjoyed another wonderful episode. Be sure to hit subscribe and like so I can keep bringing you even more great content.